Welcome back, viewers. You're watching WION World is One. This is World DNA, the show that gets you ahead of the rest. I'm Shivan Charna.
And I'm Hemkor Soroy. And in the latest in the war in Ukraine, a Russian missile attack, it struck a children's hospital in Kyiv, partially destroying it. It caused terrified patients and families to flee. Officials fear that many people could still be trapped beneath the rubble. We'll get you all the details on this on the show today. Also on World DNA, amid growing calls for US President Joe Biden to step aside from the 2024 presidential race and concerns over his age, as per reports now, a top Parkinson's disease specialist held a meeting with President Joe Biden's physician at the White House earlier this year. Though the circumstances of the meeting are unclear as of now, we will bring you the complete story on that development right here on World DNA. Let's get you started with the headlines. Alleged Russian strike hits children's hospital in Kyiv. Moscow denies attack, blames Ukraine of the strike. UN Security Council to discuss the incident later today.
Vladimir Putin praises Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, says you devoted whole life for public service. Stressed Modi is doing good for India.
Netanyahu and the Israeli government members slammed Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, accuse him of playing politics by refusing to support ultra-Orthodox draft law unless it earns broad consensus.
White House underlines Joe Biden not being treated for Parkinson's disease after media reports claimed the White House visitor logs showed doctors specializing in illness visited White House at least 8 times from August through March.
UK's outgoing Foreign Secretary David Cameron resigns as Rishi Sunak announces his interim Conservative shadow cabinet.
Tropical storm Beryl has caused widespread damage and left nearly 2.7 million Texans without power, says Lieutenant and Acting Governor Dan Patrick.
India's Met Department issues red alert for country's financial capital Mumbai, predicts heavy to very heavy rainfall in the city today.
Keegan Bradley to captain United States in the 2025 Ryder Cup against Europe. The 38-year-old wasn't the first choice but got the role after the legendary Tiger Woods turned it down. Prime Minister Modi is in Moscow for the 22nd India-Russia Summit. This is the first visit to Russia since the beginning. This is Modi's first visit to Russia since the beginning of the Russia-Ukraine war.
Right, and upon arrival, Prime Minister Modi received a grand welcome by President Vladimir Putin. This 2-day trip is also Prime Minister Modi's first bilateral visit since he returned to power for a 3rd term.
On day one, jubilant Indian diaspora and Russian dance groups danced to greet Prime Minister Modi. Modi also interacted with a large gathering of Indian community members at the hotel in Moscow.
Later, President Putin hosted a private dinner for Prime Minister Modi at his suburban residence of Novo-Ogaryovo.
ये मेरा औपचारिक निवास है, मैं यहाँ पे रहता हूँ।
С этой стороны комплекс. Работаем, коллеги.
यहाँ पे मेरा ऑफिस है जहाँ पे मैं अपने सहकर्ताओं में काम करता हूँ.
Now, on the second day of his visit, Modi will co-chair the 22nd Annual India-Russia Summit with Putin. The duo will hold extensive talks, both one-on-one and with delegations. Modi has also said in a social media post that the talks will surely go a long way in further cementing the bonds of friendship between India and Russia.
The two leaders are expected to discuss regional and global developments of mutual interest. Defence, investment, energy cooperation, education and culture will top the agenda of the bilateral talks. Prime Minister Modi will also talk about Indians who were quote-unquote misled into joining the Russian army in its war against Ukraine. He is expected to demand the earliest release of these people from the Russian military. Till now, at least 4 Indians have been killed amid the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war.
According to Indian government sources, solution to the Ukraine-Russia war can't be found on the battlefield. Key economic announcements will be made after Modi and Putin hold bilateral talks on Tuesday.
Remember, Moscow remains a key supplier of oil and weapons to India, but Kremlin's isolation from the West and blooming friendship with Beijing have impacted its partnership with New Delhi. In recent years, Western powers have also cultivated ties with India while pressuring it to distance itself from Russia.
After Russia, Prime Minister Modi will leave for Austria. This would be the first visit to the nation by an Indian Prime Minister in 40 years. Now, Prime Minister Modi's visit to Russia has got the Indian diaspora excited as well.
Of course, the Indian leader is all set to hold in-person interactions with them today as well at the Carlton in Moscow.
Now, of course, at the Carlton, Moscow, Modi fever is in the air. The Indian diaspora came out in numbers to welcome the Indian Prime Minister.
And our principal diplomatic correspondent Siddhant Sibal spoke to members of the Indian diaspora on India-Russia ties and what it means to be from the Indian diaspora in Russia. Listen to this.
Everywhere in the world, after Mr. Modi coming as a Prime Minister, our Indians have been really taken to the different heights. You know, our love, our friendship is getting to different heights. So Russia was always the best friendship. Now they are one of the best friendship, you can say. So our heights have gone to the different level. Our culture has grown over here. After Narendra Modi, we know Yoga Day. This year, Yoga Day was celebrated with more than 150,000 people on one day. So this has happened in Russia with more than 75 yoga schools participating. So this was something you have to agree that we have gone to the next level. We celebrate Indian Independence Day in Russia, which is known as India Day. India Day has a 4-day event with 12 hours every day, and we have got more than 2 million people visiting. So you can understand how much these people like.
How do you see India's foreign policy being Indians here in Russia?
I feel like the difference between India's in the West and India's Russia is the relationship that is given back by the country. So Russia, as soon as you say you're Indian, they're your first priority in any way, any possible. As soon as you say you're Indian, they will do anything to help you out, which you won't find in the West. Let's be very honest with you. Here, Russia's first priority is India, and they aim to keep that forever. That's the difference, I would say, between the West and living here in Russia.
Any closing comments on similar topic?
Absolutely, I do agree with her. Like, even if I like somebody, I'm walking on the street and people recognize, hey, you're from India, and they're like, they just treat you like their own. So it's the best feeling which we have over here as Indian, and we're very thankful to Indian government that yes, today we can call ourselves like this.
All right, moving on. Now, at least 41 civilians have been killed and over 140 others injured after Russia launched a wave of missile strikes against Ukrainian cities on Monday.
Now, targets allegedly included the country's biggest, most equipped children's hospital in Kiev, with an unknown number of victims feared trapped under the rubble. The attack is the deadliest in a series of airstrikes in months.
As per Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky, the hospital is also the main treatment center for children with cancer. He added that the strikes disrupted heart surgeries and forced young cancer patients to take their treatments outdoors.
However, Russia has denied attacking the hospital, saying it had been hit by fragments of a Ukrainian air defense missile. Moscow reiterated that they only struck military targets. Meanwhile, the Ukrainian Security Service has published pictures of what it says were fragments of a Russian Kh-101 cruise missile recovered from the site. The strikes come a day before the NATO alliance three-day summit to reassure and reassess support for Ukraine.
Now, the strike largely destroyed the hospital's toxicology ward, where children with severe kidney issues were being treated. Hundreds of rescue workers and volunteers are scrambling to clear the debris in search for survivors. While President Vladimir Zelensky has vowed to retaliate, he called upon his Western allies to help give Moscow a befitting reply.
In a statement released by the White House, US President Joe Biden has condemned the attack, calling it, and I'm going to quote here, a horrific reminder of Russia's brutality. The US State Department has said that 5 Ukrainian cities were struck with over 40 different caliber missiles. Spokesperson Matthew Miller reiterated additional military support for Ukraine while alleging Russia of intentionally targeting civilian sites.
So you will see a number of announcements come out of this summit. I won't get too far ahead of them for obvious reasons, but you will see new military, diplomatic, and economic support announced for Ukraine. You will see additional specificity about Ukraine's bridge to NATO.
The United Nations has also come down heavily on the latest Russian assault. UN chief spokesperson called the barrage shocking. This comes as the presidency for the UN Security Council, lies with Russia for the month of July.
The Secretary General strongly condemns today's missile attack by the Russian Federation, hitting residential and civilian infrastructure across Ukraine. Directing attacks against civilian and civilian objects is prohibited by international humanitarian law.
Russia says that it has foiled an attempt by Ukraine to hijack a strategic bomber, the Tu-22M3.
This according to the officers of the country's Federal Security Service, the FSB. They referred to as the primary successor of the Soviet-era KGB. The security agency put out the following statement on its website, and I'm quoting here, Ukrainian intelligence intended to recruit a Russian military pilot for a monetary reward and the provision of Italian citizenship to persuade him to fly and land a missile carrier in Ukraine.
A Russian pilot alleges that he was approached by Ukrainian recruiters to hijack the Russian strategic bomber. This is what he had to say. Listen to this.
Собеседник даже не скрывал, что из украинских спецслужб. Представился Павло. Предложил угнать боевой самолет на территории Украины. Но не просто самолет, а дальний бомбардировщик-ракетоносец, носитель ядерного оружия. Моя семья, по их планам, должна была выехать в Турцию, где их должны были встретить, эти хлопцы. А потом зачем-то в Молдову, дальше на Украину, хотя речь шла о Европе.
This does not appear to be the first such attempt made by Ukraine ever since the war began in February 2022. Last year, reports surfaced revealing details that Kyiv persuaded a Russian pilot, Maxim Kuzminov, to defect with his Mi-8 helicopter into Ukrainian territory. The deserter was found dead in Spain in February this year. Now, the conflict continues to rage on between Israel and Hamas, and in fresh airstrikes, the IDF said that it has struck a gathering of Hamas and Palestinian Jihad operatives at a school in the Nusrat at central Gaza.
Now, the Israeli military said that it discovered terror activity from within the school, using them as a shield. It also added that it used precision artillery in its attacks to avoid any collateral damage here. Meanwhile, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his cabinet made accusations against Defense Minister Yoav Gallant. This accusation comes after Gallant did not support the ultra-Orthodox draft law which earned broad consensus in the Knesset. Earlier, Gallant sought for an agreement of all coalition parties, including that of Gantz, to present the ultra-Orthodox enlistment bill.
The Israeli cabinet, they're now looking for ways to increase enrollment in the army and also extend mandatory service for men to 3 years. Furthermore, Netanyahu and Gallant are now at loggerheads over the hostage deal as well.
Gallant has been accused of endangering the lives of Israeli hostages. Further, Hamas too leveled accusations against Netanyahu of putting obstacles in ceasefire negotiations. Iran's ballistic missile facilities are boosting production. The latest satellite imagery has revealed.
Satellite images taken by Planet Labs showed more than 30 new buildings at 2 missile sites. The report was assessed by 2 senior American researchers, which was later confirmed by senior Iranian officials as well.
The imagery belonged to Modarras military base from March and Khojir missile production complex from April, both of which are located near Tehran. It also indicated presence of structures surrounded by large dirt berms. The military sites are overseen by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, which plays an important role in Iran's missile and nuclear program. The enlargement of the sites follows an October 2022 deal in which Iran agreed to provide missiles to Russia. Now, as per experts, expansions began at Khojir in August last year and at Modarras in October, which still appear to be under construction. Tehran also supplies missiles to Yemen's Houthi rebels and the Lebanese militia Hezbollah.
The 2 US researchers involved in the assessment said that it was not clear what kinds of missiles would be produced at the new facilities. The complexes, however, have long been associated with the development and production of Iran's short and medium-range ballistic missiles and rockets for the country's space program. Iran's arsenal is already the largest in West Asia, estimated at more than 3,000 missiles, including models designed to carry conventional and nuclear warheads. The 3 Iranian officials, on the condition of anonymity, confirmed the expansion of the said facilities and also told that Iran is trying to boost its production of conventional ballistic missiles.
They further added that the new buildings would also allow doubling of drone manufacturing. Now, American analysts have suggested that Russia is on the hunt for low-cost missile capabilities and their manufacturing has been transferred to Iran and North Korea. All right, Iran has voted and, of course, given a clear mandate to a reformist leader in Masoud Pezeshkian.
But winning an election is just the beginning for the president-elect. As per state media, Pezeshkian will be sworn in as the new president in early August. This after he receives an official endorsement from the supreme leader following the oath-taking. He would then have about 15 days to present his proposed ministers to the parliament for a vote of confidence.
Pezeshkian and his new government face a slew of huge challenges ahead of them. On this list will be easing tensions over stalled negotiations with world powers on reviving the 2015 nuclear deal. Iran is also tasked with promoting a pragmatic foreign policy and increasing prospects of bringing in social liberalization. Economic issues owing to mismanagement and ensuing sanctions in 2018 after the fallout of the US-Iran nuclear deal are a huge ask. Unlike other nations, Iran's president is only second in command to the supreme leader, who in this case is hardliner Ayatollah Ali Khamenei.
Now, the duties and areas of jurisdiction are divided between the president and the supreme leader, as President Pezeshkian will be able to exercise influence over foreign policy and domestic policy as well. The president's responsibility also included setting Iran's economic policy. On the other hand, it is the supreme leader who exercises power over the police, army and Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. This limits the influence that the president has over military and other security forces. US President Joe Biden is not being treated for Parkinson's disease. The White House has issued a reassuring statement after reports surfaced that a doctor specializing in the illness, had visited the White House at least 8 times over the past year.
Now, according to the New York Times report, visitor logs show Dr. Kevin Cannard's repeated visits between August and March. Concerns over the president's health have grown since his performance in the first debate against Trump. Now, Biden is battling criticism from Democrats and voters alike, who say that he lacks the mental acuity to stand as their nominee against Trump.
In an attempt to put the murmurs at ease, White House press secretary has announced that Biden has not been and is not being treated for Parkinson's. However, she refused to confirm the doctor's visit, stating privacy and security reasons.
If it's not in the medical report, obviously it's not something that the president is dealing with. Well, I can tell you this. Just going back to Parkinson's for a little bit, so to give you some answers here, has the president been treated for Parkinson's? No. Is he being treated for Parkinson's? No, he's not. Is he taking medication for Parkinson's? No. So those are the things that I can give you full-blown answers on, but I'm not going to confirm a specialist, any specialist that comes to the White House out of privacy.
The White House spokesperson also said that Biden has seen a neurologist at least thrice for his annual physical exam.
Most recently, in February, an extremely detailed neurological exam was again reassuring in that there were no findings which would be consistent with any cerebellar or other central neurological disorder, such as a stroke, multiple sclerosis, Parkinson's, or ascending lateral sclerosis, end quote. So that came directly from in February in that comprehensive report that was provided by the president's doctor.
Now the clock is ticking for Biden, with the Democratic National Convention drawing closer. As the blue camp grows impatient, Biden now faces a critical week ahead to put up a rather convincing show that he can serve another term in the White House.
No. Do you plan to, sir? We'll see what happens. Mr. President.
The Republican National Committee has released a Donald Trump-endorsed platform that softens the party position on abortion and gay marriage.
Omitting the explicit basis for a national ban for the first time in 40 years, the platform is titled America First, a return to common sense. It will be presented for approval at next week's Republican convention in Milwaukee. Trump is expected to formally be named the Republican presidential nominee at the convention.
The draft calls for a national ban on abortion, advocated by staunch anti-abortion activists. 16-page document was approved in an 84-18 vote by the Convention Platform Committee. The updated language is a reversal in Trump's position in the aftermath of the Supreme Court's decision overturning Roe v. Wade, that restrictions should now be left to the states. Trump appointed 3 of the 6 justices who voted in the majority to overturn the 1973 precedent that established a national right to have an abortion.
In promoting the platform document, the campaign released a statement highlighting 20 issues that it addresses, including immigration, economy, energy, taxes and crime. And according to Trump advisors, the new document directly reflects the views of the former U.S. president, a break from past tradition where Republican activists are empowered to shape the document in consultation with presumptive nominees' campaign. Trump this year faced months of Democratic criticism over abortion. After the 2022 midterm elections, Trump blamed Republicans who held strict anti-abortion positions for the party's failure to secure a larger House majority. He has since been critical of the more stringent abortion bans in individual states.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Brooke. And what a job she does.
Now, after a disastrous outing in the UK general elections, the Conservative Party went back to the drawing board and have chalked out an interim shadow cabinet.
But the new cabinet, however, does not feature former Prime Minister David Cameron, who has tendered his resignation to the new opposition leader.
Cameron, who served as the Foreign Secretary in Sunak's cabinet, took to his X account saying that the Conservative Party in opposition will have to shadow the new Foreign Secretary for the Commons. He added that it has been a huge honour to serve as the Foreign Secretary and will continue to support the Tories.
Meanwhile, Deputy Foreign Secretary Andrew Mitchell will take over as the new Shadow Foreign Secretary following Cameron's departure. Richard Holden too resigned as the party chair after Tories' poor show in the recent elections. The new party chair will be taken over by Bedfordshire MP Richard Fuller. Further, Jeremy Hunt and James Cleverly will continue as Shadow Chancellor and Shadow Home Secretary. Similarly, Oliver Dowden will remain as Deputy Leader of Opposition. On the other hand, James Carnage has been appointed as the new Shadow Defence Secretary, while Ed Arger took over as the Shadow Secretary of Justice. Andrew Griffith will be put in charge of Science, Innovation and Technology. And former Policing Minister Chris Philp has been appointed as Shadow Commons Leader.
Until further announcement, Rishi Sunak will continue as the leader of the opposition. However, his allies believe that Sunak may not last beyond the summer. This means that chances are that the Tories might have to appoint a new interim leader. And with that, it's time now for a short break.
Don't go anywhere. World DNA will be back after this. Come right back.
Namaste. Hello, friends. We did Dr. Subhash Chandra show, popularly known as DSC show, for 4 years, from August 2014 to August 2018. 28 states of Bharat. Of course, we reached out to all of you in 190 countries across the world. The show was very successful. Each episode was being watched by almost 25 million people every week. For past 6 years, the demand of the show has never died down. People write to us, people ask for the show to restart again. Hence, we are beginning the show once again on All Z Network, also on WION, which is the global network channel from India. Again, thank you for your love and affection. See you soon at Subhash Chandra Show.
To bring the benefits of the Subhash Chandra Show to your educational institution, teachers and students, send an invitation to Juhi Jha at yoursarthi@such.org.in. A critical 75th NATO summit. Russian advances, rise of the far right, and political turbulence, the undercurrent. Amid the world's most dangerous security environment since the Cold War. Alliance leaders meet to keep the flock together and the funds flowing. Unity and strength, the focus. All the action, keen insights and analysis on WION.
Everyone loves a contest. But sport isn't just about victory and defeat. When the GOATs in sport speak, you hear it first on WION.
You have to play good cricket over a period of time.
I should push myself right out of the damn tournament.
We go beyond the stats. Our stories are quoted the world over.
At WION, sport is part of our DNA. Come, join us on this journey. Weekdays 6:30 p.m. IST, 1 p.m. GMT.
From the bustling trading floors of Wall Street to the vibrant exchanges of Asian stock markets, WION breaks it down for you to make sense of what's happening, as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Welcome back to WION World as One. You're watching World DNA. Thank you so much for staying with us. Lots lined up for you on this side of the show as well. Let's get started with the headlines first.
Alleged Russian strike hits children's hospital in Kiev. Moscow denies attack, blames Ukraine of the strike. UN Security Council to discuss incident later today.
Russia's Vladimir Putin praises Prime Minister Modi, says you devoted whole life for public service, stresses that Modi is doing good for India.
Netanyahu and Israeli government members slam Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, accuse him of playing politics by refusing to support ultra-Orthodox draft law unless it earns broad consensus.
White House clarifies Joe Biden not being treated for Parkinson's disease after media reports claimed White House visitor logs show doctors specializing in illness visited White House at least 8 times from August through March.
UK's outgoing Foreign Secretary David Cameron resigns as Rishi Sunak announces his interim Conservative shadow cabinet.
Tropical storm Beryl has caused widespread damage. It's left nearly 2.7 million Texans without power, says Lieutenant and Acting Governor Dan Patrick.
Keegan Bradley to captain United States in the 2025 Ryder Cup against Europe. The 38-year-old wasn't the first choice but got the role after the legendary Tiger Woods turned it down.
My break.
Heavy rainfall has wreaked havoc in several parts of India.
Assam has witnessed 76 deaths due to floods, storms and landslides. India's financial hub Mumbai also came to a standstill. Heavy rainfall has been predicted for both Assam and Maharashtra for the coming days. Our next report gets you the complete details.
Heavy rains bring states like Maharashtra and Assam to a standstill. First up, Assam has been reeling from the floods. and the situation has worsened in the last 24 hours. It has claimed lives of 8 people, taking total death toll to 66. And as many as 12 people have lost their lives due to landslides and storms, taking death toll further to 78. Over 27 lakh people in 28 districts are still affected by the floods in the state. Moreover, even the major rivers are flowing above the danger level at several places. Kachar, Kamrup, Dhubri, Nagaon, Golpara, Barpeta, Dibrugarh, Bongaigaon, Lakhimpur, Jorhat, Kokrajhar, Karimganj and Tinsukia are among the districts affected. In the flood-affected areas, homes are standing half-submerged, their structures trembling under the weight of encroaching water. The people of Assam are caught in a harrowing race for survival. Multiple agencies, including NDRF, SDRF and local administration, have been carrying out relief and rescue operations with 171 boats deployed in different parts. Damage to roads, bridges, Anganwadi centers and fishery ponds have been reported across the state. To top it all, the floods have impacted the national parks in the state. As many as 131 wild animals, including 6 rhinos, have died so far after drowning in the floodwaters at the famous Kaziranga National Park. The Park Authority and the Forest Department have managed to rescue 97 wild animals during the flood. Government authorities say 69 forest camps out of 233 are underwater. Taking stock of the flood situation, Union Home Minister Amit Shah, in a telephonic conversation, assured the Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma of getting help and support from the centre. The Assam Chief Minister Sarma also visited several flood-affected areas in Dibrugarh district, including urban town areas, to take stock of the damage caused by breaches in the embankments. He said that all the relief camps in flood-affected districts are well maintained and stocked with enough essential items till the situation normalizes. And the government team is also reaching out to people staying there to gather real-time feedback. IMD predicts very heavy rains for Assam till July 11th. In Maharashtra, Mumbai woke up to heavy rainfall and consequent waterlogging, causing floods in major parts of the city. On 8th July, Mumbai recorded more than 300 mm rainfall in the span of 6 hours alone, highest rainfall of this season in the city. The city came to a standstill as major low-lying areas were flooded, causing traffic jams. The lifeline of the city, local trains were impacted due to floods on the railway tracks. Transport services were hit for nearly 3 to 4 hours, which led to crowding and stampede-like situation at the railway stations. BMC declared closure of schools on Monday. Mumbai University also had to postpone exams. The operations at the Chhatrapati Shivaji International Airport, one of the busiest in the country, were disrupted amid heavy rains, leading to 27 flights being diverted and over 50 getting cancelled. The local authorities swung into action and issued advisory for people to stay at home and not to leave home unless necessary. Maharashtra Chief Minister Eknath Shinde reviewed the flood situation in Mumbai and the state. India's Meteorological Department has predicted heavy rainfall in Maharashtra for the next 3 to 4 days.
After Hurricane Beryl slammed into Texas, knocking out power to nearly 3 million homes and businesses, unleashing heavy rain and killing at least 3 people, it moved east and later weakened to a tropical depression.
Now, the fast-moving tempest threatened to carve a harsh path over several more states in the coming days. Here's a report with all the details.
Hurricane Beryl slammed into Texas on Monday, lashing Houston and the surrounding areas with powerful winds that killed at least 2 people. Harris County officials said a 53-year-old man and a 74-year-old woman were killed in 2 separate incidents by trees that fell on their homes in the Houston area on Monday. Video from Galveston, Texas, showed damaged buildings and scattered debris after Beryl tore through the area. The U.S. National Hurricane Center said Beryl had weakened from a Category 1 hurricane to a tropical storm after making landfall, but it continued to pound the state. several counties in the southeast remained under a flash flood warning as thunderstorms unleashed up to nearly 12 inches of rain in some areas. Meanwhile, airlines canceled more than 1,300 flights, and more than 2 million homes and businesses were without power on Monday. Before reaching Texas, the season's earliest Category 5 hurricane on record had swept a destructive path through Jamaica, Grenada, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines last week. So far, it has killed at least 12 people in the Caribbean and Texas. The National Hurricane Center said it was expected to weaken rapidly as it moves across land, as hurricanes typically do, before becoming a tropical depression on Tuesday.
All right, now we turn our attention to an important debate brewing. Will India be able to create enough jobs?
Well, economists in Citigroup in a report said the country's unemployment is poised to rise even if the economy grows at 7% annually as projected. However, the Indian government has refuted those claims and alleged that the Citi report failed to consider the positive trends and comprehensive data from official sources.
In a statement based on that was released on Monday, India's Ministry of Labour and Employment claimed that Citi's authors ignored positive trends and extensive data from official sources. The Indian ministry statement said that the Asian country has created over 80 million jobs between 2012 and 2022. And according to the statement, there are promising trends for the future in the manufacturing industry, the service sector, infrastructure development, and new opportunities in areas like the gig economy.
Economists Sabiran Chakrabarti and Bakar Zaidi of Citi had earlier estimated that India can only generate 8 to 9 million jobs per year at its present rate of economic growth, but to accommodate the influx of young workers in the coming decade, the country will require approximately 12 million jobs per year.
However, according to the Indian government, India has generated more jobs than the number of people seeking employment. The ministry said the labour force participation has increased to 58% in 2023 from just under 50% in 2018. The government in a statement said, and I'm quoting here, contrary to the report which suggests a dire employment scenario, the official data reveals a more optimistic picture of the Indian job market.
All right, and over to all the developments coming in from the world of technology. According to a report, Microsoft in China has banned Android phones at work. As a result, the staff has been asked to switch to iPhones by September 2024. Employees using Android smartphones, including brands like Huawei and Xiaomi, will be given an iPhone 15 by the company. Reportedly, one reason for the switch is the absence of the Google Play Store in mainland China. Since Apple's iOS App Store is available in China, employees will be able to use the Microsoft Authenticator Password Manager and the Identity Pass app seamlessly.
In China, Android users rely on app stores by Huawei or Xiaomi, but Microsoft has restricted access to these platforms. And this directive comes amid increasing cybersecurity concerns for Microsoft. Earlier this year, the company was targeted by Russia's state-sponsored hacking group, which impacted several US government agencies.
Karen Martin, former head of UK's National Cyber Security Centre, has warned that the island nation's National Health Service remains vulnerable to further cyber attacks unless he further added that the only way to stop cyber attacks is by updating NHS computer systems on an urgent basis. Now, this year, in the month of June, a hacking group that goes by the name of Killin released nearly 400 GB of sensitive data on the dark web. The group stole the data from a National Health Service blood testing company. The leaked data included patient names, date of births, NHS numbers and descriptions of blood tests. The hack is considered one of the worst cyber attacks in the UK.
South Korea's antitrust regulator has taken steps against Google over allegations of unfairly bundling YouTube's music services with its premium subscription. Google has been accused of providing YouTube music to its users of its ad-free YouTube Premium program without extra charges. Critics argue that bundling YouTube music with the premium service, it's boosted YouTube subscribers, and this has limited consumer choices and unfairly hindered other music streaming businesses. After months of investigations, the country's Fair Trade Commission has presented a review report recommending punitive measures against Google.
Now, officials say the probe focused on whether Google abused its market dominance and restricted fair competition.
All right, on to stories now making headlines in the world of sport. Novak Djokovic is on track for a record-extending 25th Grand Slam title. The Serbian dispatched Olga Rune in straight sets to reach the quarterfinal at Wimbledon. The second seed struggled with stomach pain in the first set but overcame it to completely dominate the 15th seed. Djokovic convincingly won 6-3, 6-4, 6-2 and will face Alex de Minaur for a place in the last four.
The Serbian was in combative mode in his post-match interview and accused the crowd of disrespecting him. Many experts thought the fans were cheering for Rune by chanting the Dane's name, but Djokovic believed that they were using it as an excuse to boo him.
World champions Argentina have received a big boost ahead of their Copa America semi-final clash with Canada. 8-time World Player of the Year Lionel Messi has been declared fit to play. The 37-year-old has been dealing with a right leg problem since the 1-0 group stage win over Chile on the 25th of June. Messi missed the final group stage game 4 days later but played the entire match in the quarterfinal victory over Ecuador last Thursday. The former Barcelona forward has not scored in the tournament and would be looking to break his duck on Wednesday.
The 2011 PGA Championship winner Keegan Bradley has been picked up as the captain of the United States for the 2025 Ryder Cup. The 38-year-old was not the PGA of America's first choice for the role, but has accepted it after the legendary Tiger Woods turned it down. The 15-time major winner had been a long favourite to succeed Zach Johnson, but Woods repeatedly delayed his decision, and it appears that finally decided that he could not dedicate the time. The US are aiming to bounce back after a 5-point defeat against Europe in Rome last September. World number 4, Alexander Zverev's wait for a maiden Wimbledon quarter-final berth continues.
This as American Taylor Fritz rallied from 2 sets down to be the reigning Olympic champion in an epic 4th-round match and set up a clash against Italy's Lorenzo Musetti. Zverev came into the contest without dropping a single serve. However, the knee injury he picked up in the previous match against Cameron Norrie made many think that he would struggle against the hard-hitting Fritz. The German turned up on centre court wearing protective support on his leg but did not show any discomfort as he bagged the opening set 6-4. Fritz put up a much better show in the second set but could not stop Zverev from taking a 2-0 lead in the match. 2024 French Open runner-up Zverev was 2 games away from victory when the match turned on its head.
That's it, Fritz.
A team double fault from the German saw him relinquish his first service break of the tournament, and from then on, Fritz's game caught fire. The 13th seed won the 3rd set to extend the match and then edged the German in a 4th set tiebreak to force a decider. With momentum on his side, Fritz broke Zverev in the 4th game to go 3-1 up and eventually won the contest 4-6, 6-7, 6-4, 7-6, 6-3 in 3 hours and 29 minutes.
Not too much. I think. In the first set, I was returning
really close-up chipping forehands. And to be honest, I mean, you're not going to have a lot of success returning a serve like wherever. You can stand anywhere. It's not really going to, it's not going to feel great. But when I backed it up in maybe it was the end of the first or the second, I felt like I was putting more returns in the court. So no change really in the third, change in the second.
And the wait is finally over. A new Deadpool film is all set to release later this month.
But before its mega release, the cast of Deadpool and Wolverine premiered their upcoming film in Berlin. More about it in our next report.
Up to that balcony to the police woman from that.
I don't know. I don't know why I came on a bike. Hugh Jackman thought it would be fun, but I got a bike that did not change gears. So literally, I just biked like this for a mile. So I'm drenched in sweat. But it was playful, and the movie is definitely playful too.
I thought about it. It was the idea of having this matchup. Because, you know, I've done this for a while, but that all felt new, and the reality of shooting it was completely new, invigorating, energizing. I think the audience is going to love it too.
God, I love this car. Wait! Well, the fact that it's not Deadpool 3, it's Deadpool and Wolverine, doesn't really feel like a sequel, but also it's a totally separate film. But it was